I wanted to thank you for taking time to speak with me today.
Oh man, hey, thank you for having me on. Thrilled to be here.
Now the album's out and the response has been great. I wanted to ask you if you could take me back in time and tell me how the band became a reality.
Yeah, perfect. So I was just out of high school. I was going to college, and funny enough, my stepdad called me, and he was like, "Hey, I saw this flyer at a music store, and these guys were looking for a drummer." He said their influences were like Metallica, Slayer, Maiden, which is stuff that I'm obviously really into. And I'm 18 at this time. They were a little older. So he calls me and he's like, "They're going to call you in a second." So then I had two guys, Steven and Josh. They gave me a call and was like, "Hey, we ran into your dad," and he was like, or he called us from the flyer and wanted us to like come out. And before I knew it, we had a rehearsal set up. And why that's so interesting is my stepdad, he doesn't play an instrument at all. So
What?
the fact that he was even at that, I don't know why he went there. I'm not sure, but he just saw the flyer, and that was back, when people still kind of did that before
Sure.
social media really took off. So yeah, I was 18. We formed the band in September of 2010, and we had a few practices, and we had two guitar players and me on drums, and then one of my friends, Josh, in the band was like, "Hey, one of my buddies plays guitar too. Maybe he'll come play bass," which is like that's the stereotypical metal thing, right? You have three guitar
Sure.
players in the band, but one of them has to play bass.
Right.
And so he started playing bass. His name was Sean. He played with us for a while, and that's how we kind of started. We played our first official show. I think it was like the first weekend of February of 2011. Um, so we practiced. They had some songs wrote, and me, I was just coming out of high school. I'd only played with kids that I went to school with, and a lot of it
Mhm.
was, your kind of typical rock band stuff.
Sure.
We were doing cover songs, but we were really big Metallica fans. But I wanted to play something heavier. Like I wanted to play stuff that was faster and heavier than what, some of my friends were doing. And of course, like it never fails. Your high school band you have, it only sticks around for so long. And
Right.
so we kind of went our separate ways when it comes to playing music. And I started playing with Angel Flesh. And then next thing I know, it was like we're practicing all the time. We started playing a lot of shows, and kind of took off a little bit in our area. Of course, we're from Arkansas, kind of a not really known for its metal scene, but we kind of got our foot in the door and kind of made a name for ourselves, at least because we were very like thrash and melodic back then. That was kind of the vibe of what we were. So yeah, that's kind of how the band started.
And I wanted to ask you, because
Yeah.
I see like how some people could see this as a conceptual idea, but to me, it's more about the songs are more based upon societal issues. Um, and actually, lyrically, it comes off to me almost like Animal Farm, you know, in
Yeah,
structure. You know what I mean? Where
sure.
even in the cover, when I'm listening to the album, I'm picturing in my mind the Grim Reaper going after all the sheep that just follow along.
Gotcha. Yeah, our bass player, his name's Wesley Pierce. He's the one that he come into the band. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, but he come in the band about 2017, and so that's when he kind of come in, and he took over playing guitar actually. And long story short, we'll fast forward to where we're at now. He's taken over as our main lyricist, and so like he's just has a really like I think a very good talent of just writing like stuff that's not just regurgitated, just
Sure.
like the normal. I truly when I sat down and I'm so proud of the album the way it turned out. I mean, blew my expectations out the water. But I look at the lyrics and just his vocal performances. I feel like he wants you to feel it when he says it, and but
Yes.
he took a lot of time into the lyrics, and he's been through a lot of hardships in his life, and so he said he was like, I kind of channeled some of that, maybe trauma or just things that he's went through, and he kind of puts it into his art, and that's why I think the lyrics are so good, because he's coming from like real life experiences in some areas.
And the one that really sticks out to me is modern day prophets making modern day profits.
Yes. When he hit me with that, I was like, I'm sold. I love it. You know, I love
Yeah,
it. Yeah. No, that was funny enough. Like, that song, I didn't even know what the single was gonna be. And it just so happened that was like the first one that we had that was like completely mastered. And I was like, this song rips. And I was like, let's just
yeah.
put it out as a single. So we dropped that in November, and a lot of people really loved it. And so I was like, man, I can't wait for them to hear the full thing because it's, yeah.
And I wanted to ask you because it fits so perfect that it comes across to me as it was done on purpose. Was meant to be a part of like an opening to Quiet Wars?
Yes. So I'll get a little technical. So I personally, if you know anything about being, we're pretty much a regional metal band in the Arkansas area. We'll go out and play, but we're not touring. Okay, we're not on the road every weekend, like going doing these big long stretches. So doing an album is a massive, well, let me rephrase that, doing an album well with a good producer, good studio, those things, it's very expensive. And so I I didn't want to do an album. I truly didn't. We did one in 2013, and it
Mhm.
was very, very low budget. Of course, we were still in our infancy, and it was kind of, we did like 50 copies of it, and then I think it was 50, and then we sold them, and I never printed anymore because it was pretty rough. So if you have one, that's cool. And then we did something in 2019, which was it was the Plague of Humanity EP, which it was just
Mhm.
4 songs. So I my goal, my dream was to have, I wanted to have a full, we're 16 years, this will be our 16th year in September. I wanted to have a full length album that just would leave our mark on kind
Right.
of what we've done. And because we've been, me, Steven, and Josh, the two guitar players, we've been in the band since day one. And so I was like, man, I really wanted like something I was super proud of. But I really thought about just the cost of everything. And I was like, it just financially doesn't make too much sense. And I was wanting to do like a digital 45. So I was wanting
Mhm.
to do like 2 songs because we could go in. We had enough money in the band fund to pay cash for it for the most part. So we go in, do a couple songs, and then release them, and then maybe do like some physicals, and just just that way you're still putting out music. Well, I myself work at a studio that's in Fort Smith. It's kind of it started in 2017, and so I've been affiliated. And the guy that owns the studio, he actually runs like a Christian metal, or I'm sorry, a Christian label. So it's like a
Ah,
music label for like Christian artists. But we like I have a great relationship with him. Of course, we're not a Christian band, so we didn't fit the bill for that.
sure.
But he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I want to open up like a secular side of the label." And he approached me literally as I had given up kind of on doing an album. And he was like, "Hey, I want to sign you guys, and I want to put my support behind you and help you financially bring this thing to life." And
Wow.
so actually, what we did is we signed the deal that we signed was, it was supposed to be a 6 song deal. Because in my opinion, I was like, well, six is like the minimum I'd want to do, and I don't want to get way too in over my head. But what happened is that when these songs were being wrote, Zion, for example, was I forgot what we were calling it in the pre-production, but that was supposed to be like, just, it was supposed to be into Quiet Wars as one track, like it was just going
Mhm.
to be one track, and so the producer was like, "Hey, I really," because he's like, I don't want the songs to suffer because they're lumped together. Like, I want to make sure that Quiet Wars is a standalone track because
Sure.
it hits so hard. I love it when people listen to the album, front to back, because I think that's how music's supposed to be.
Absolutely.
That's I'm old school in that sense, and that's how it should be. But at the same time, I do understand where he was coming from. So we had some discussion, and they worked with us and let us kind of separate Zion, and then also the song Solace,
Yes.
which is just a guitar that was actually going to also just be right before Symptomatic. And
Mhm.
so the album, it's the way it's broken up is like we have like two kind of heavy hitters, and then we have like an instrumental and then like kind of an epic. And then that's how the first half, it's like I was looking at it from side A, side B, because
Sure.
I'm a vinyl guy. So I was like, when I was putting it together, I'm like, okay, side A, side B. So yeah, to answer your question, it was supposed to just be part of Quiet Wars. It was supposed to just be the entire song. But it just kept expanding and kept getting better. And I'm like, man, like, so I'm really thankful that we were able to just kind of work it out with the deal already struck that, hey, we'll just leave this as its own song. And so, yeah, but yeah, good catch on that. That's a good catch. That's a good catch.
And I also wanted to ask you, now it's out. Will you guys take to the road?
Man, yeah. So, my schedule is crazy and I do my best so just really quick, being personal on my end, I lost my job with COVID, and so I ended up I had a 1 month old at home, so I was just kind of at home with my son, and I my wife was kind of like, hey, maybe just stay home. So I was freed up to play some more music on the side because I'll play. We mentioned before we started up, the Buffett tribute thing.
Sure.
I play in country and classic rock bands. Do all kinds of stuff. I play with like 5 to 6 bands, and so like
Wow.
I stay very busy. So I'm trying to like work the schedule around, and then everybody in the band also has full time jobs and has you know Josh has like 3 kids. So we're trying to the way that I would like to maybe do I'd like to do like a week run sometime and just be able to kind of to run across, but I think it's probably going to be next year before we're able to do anything that big, just from the sense of getting everybody's work schedules and getting like the time off and all that. So and then on my side, like I'm trying to like I'm looking at my calendar and it's like every Saturday or
Sure.
I'm kind of all over the place. So I'm trying my best not to hold the band back, but at the same time, this is good for us because we're able to just get in and work on these songs and kind of we're working on like getting them down because we haven't played them together. Some of them we haven't played together. Period. We
Wow.
a lot of demo work was done, and so of course we recorded all of our parts,
Right.
but in a band setting and getting it like to put it in a live setting that takes
Right.
a lot of work. So we've been working on that. The guys on guitars have been putting in a lot of work. So we're slowly kind of shelling songs out. Yeah, I would love to. I'd love to do some weekend runs. Maybe just do because we're close to Texas. I'd like to break into Texas a little bit more. Not super. We're about 4 hours from Dallas, about 4.5. So pretty. And I know Dallas has a good metal scene. So I'm
Yeah,
wanting to
absolutely.
kind of go there. And honestly, it's like we had a really good response from everybody from the album, and it's your own work, and I'm very biased, and I knew it was going to be, I knew it was great, and I thought it was good, but it's like, what do people think? And it's like the support has just been overwhelming. It's been really cool. It's very humbling to see.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to speak with you about it.
Man, yeah, you reached out to me, and I was like, awesome, like this is cool. You know what I mean? Like people are like, and because I haven't even like it's been all just I'm not really promoting, you know what I mean? I'm just kind of posting stuff and people are finding it. Like I got people in different countries commenting on South America. I think I had somebody in Germany reach out to us, Australia, and I'm just like, this is crazy. We're just a metal band from Arkansas, So it's been really cool. We're really like thrilled about it.
And we touched on the album art. I wanted to ask you, who is responsible for the artwork?
Oh man, so that's my buddy. His name's Christian Chapman. So one of the other bands that I play in, he plays guitar in, and so I've known Christian for a long time, and he's one of those guys that he'll do a little bit like he has a job that he works, but like art's his passion and
Mm,
drawing, doing commissions for people, art, and I realized that is about a few years ago and I was like, man, I'm going to utilize this guy. So like any of the shirts I do, anything art related, I'm going to him. And so that the album cover, we were kind of playing around with we had a couple of ideas beforehand, and it's album covers are one of those things like I joked like all of us in the band like we didn't really know what we wanted, because it's
mm,
like everything's kind of already been done to an extent, so like you don't want to get too cheesy with it and you don't, and
right.
I don't know, I kind of with Christian, what I love about him is I try to just give him a little bit of info. Like I've given him lyrics before and said, "Can you make me a shirt design?" And like I think that people that do art, they work best when they're just kind of they're not chained down, and
Sure,
they can just.
absolutely.
And so that was another thing. I just kind of I. I had he had a shirt design that he did that I really liked, and I was like, man, could we maybe do something in this vein? And he just kind of went with it. And then when he sent it to me, I was like, okay, that's it. That's the album art.
And I
I
think
think
it's
it
perfect with the lyrics.
I think it pops. I love the idea of a white cover. And at first I was like, I thought about it. I was like, man, if I'm in a record store, which I go to record stores all the time, when you see like a white album, it sticks out to you. It
Hmm.
it, it pops. And so I felt like, and I didn't want to get. We thought about going like super thematically heavy. Like, do we put like a lot of themes from the album on the? And I was like, I don't want it to get too busy. Like, I didn't want
Right.
there to be just a lot of stuff in there to where it got too busy. I was like simple and effective, and it just and I think it yeah. And a few of the guys in the band, they were kind of on the fence at first. They thought it was great, but they were like, I don't know if this is what we want. And then they tell me now they're just like, yeah, that was a great move. That was a great
Oh
call.
yeah.
So, but yeah, his name's Christian Chapman. Like just super talented, and so yeah, I use him every chance that I can for obvious reasons.
And I wanted to ask you if you could take me back in time and tell
Yes,
me what made you pick up the sticks. Was there a
man.
drummer that influenced you?
So funny enough, I think so. I joined so at the high school that I or at the school that I went to in sixth grade in Arkansas. We have junior high 7 to 9th grade, and then senior high is like 10 to 12. So when you become a seventh grader, you can join band, and so I was like, man, I want to do percussion. Like that's what I wanted to
Mm.
do, and so I my sixth grade year, they let you join what's called beginning band, and so you go in and they basically ask you, um, what do you want to do? Do you want to play trumpet? Do you want to play this? Do you want to play whatever? They just ask you, and I put percussion as my number one. So they do like a little test. And my band director, she tested me and was like, she was like, well, you don't really have enough rhythm to be in percussion. And so, which I think honestly, what it was she didn't want a sixth grade Roy to have drumsticks all day long because I was crazy, like, and so which was funny. I actually played trombone and I played it for sixth grade. I played it for the whole year. I hated it, and I was like, I'm out. And I
Right.
gave it back to her seventh grade, and I was done. I begged my mom forever I wanted to do drums going like when I was younger going to like church camp. So I went to church camps,
Mhm.
and you would the band would play, and I was just always fixated on the drums. And you know how like I don't know, like I just watched what he was doing, and I was on the chair kind of trying to tap, had no idea what I was doing. And as I got older, I started like tapping with pencils, and I don't know how, but like I just developed this sense of rhythm with no training, and no one in my family's musical, which is crazy. Like nobody. Like my mom, my stepdad, none of them play anything. I have distant relatives that are into music, but nothing like in my immediate family. So what was I wanted drum lessons, and I begged my mom forever, and finally my ninth grade the Christmas break of my ninth grade starting in January, she let me go take lessons. I took one lesson, and the instructor walked out and like scolded my mom and said, where has this kid been? He should have been here years ago. And
Wow.
so I just picked it up very naturally. And I some people do, and to me, like I could just hear it. I could hear it. And so I took it. I don't know, like my life kind of been consumed with drums. I was a basketball player in high school, and when you're in high school, your vision's very narrow. You're
Sure.
thinking. I'm not thinking too much for the future. You're thinking, and I remember I was like 10th grade, and I was really improving on drums quite quickly. I was getting into stuff like Metallica, Maiden. I'm a big 70s Priest fan. I love 70s
Oh,
Sabbath.
oh, yeah.
That's my bread and butter. And so I was really getting into that stuff, and I just ended up like kind of thinking like, man, like I'll play basketball until I graduate, but drums I can do for the rest of my life. So I was like, I'm going to be a drummer. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to go to college, but I actually got, it was funny. I got a call one day to go to the principal's office. It was my senior year, and I'm like, oh, what do I do now? So I walk in there, and they said there was a small community college near me that wanted me to come out and audition. And so I was like, I don't even know how they heard about me because at the time I was just, I'd played a few shows. I played like our prom one year, but it was all like kind of nothing was done out in the public where people
Mhm.
would really, really know. And so I went and, sure enough, I got to meet. His name was Dan Faulkner. Rest in peace. He was my mentor for a long time. He became a great friend, and he set the drums up and just said, I want you to play this simple beat. And it was I called it number two because it's the second beat I ever learned. And he wanted me to play it for a couple minutes, and he was just testing my timing. I made it 60 seconds. He cut me off. He was like, all right. He goes, do you want a full tuition scholarship? And my mom's jaw hit the floor, and I was like, crap, now I got to go to college, because I didn't
Right.
want to. So yeah, that happened, and then, like I said, Angel Flesh, we formed a few months after that. Well, I started in the fall, and then formed Angel Flesh, in that year. So yeah, but honestly, I'll tell you, one of the bands that like I really, really was into big time, was Disturbed. And I think Disturbed is a great, what do you call them, gateway band,
Sure.
like, yeah, because like their stuff's heavy, but it's also commercial, so it's like easy for someone like me that was just getting into metal to kind of come into. And the real story of what happened, I don't know if you remember LimeWire back in the day.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
I actually downloaded a Fade to Black. I downloaded a song from Disturbed called Fade to Black, and I was like, oh, cool, it's a Disturbed song. And it was live. And what it was, they were covering Metallica's Fade to Black.
Right.
And at the time, I was a big Disturbed fan. Like, I think I was eighth grade at this point. And I was really into Disturbed. And my uncle heard it. My uncle was like my musical like hero. Like he was ahead of the curve. Stuff that people were into now, like he was into back in the day,
Sure.
And so he said, he noticed it, and he said, what is that? I go, oh, it's this Disturbed song called Fade to Black. And he goes, oh, no, no, no. He goes, hold on one second. And he walked into his room and brought out Ride the Lightning,
Yeah.
Master of Puppets, and Justice for All. And it changed my life. I mean, I became a massive Metallica fan. 80s Metallica. I was like, that's what I was like trying to learn to play the songs. And so yeah, I'll say like, Mike Wingren, Disturbed drummer, is kind
Mm,
of what got me started. But Lars, specifically 80s Lars, was like that. I was like, I want to do that. Like, that's what
sure.
I want to do. And that's where I never was. I was more of a Metallica fan than a Slayer fan. And the guys in Angel Flesh, or Josh and Steven, they were really into Slayer. And so like we come together, and it was kind of like, I just remember like, okay, they're Slayer fans. I got to play everything like really fast. So like just trying to play as fast as I could. But yeah, that's kind of like a brief summary of kind of how I got into playing.
I think it's just amazing because I tried to play drums. Uh, Went to a friend of mine. I said, "Hey, let me get behind your kit," because you just think it in your mind. I When I got back there, I'm like, "Oh man, this shit's gotta be easy." And every
Yeah,
time I went da 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 da, my legs went da 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 da, and I couldn't separate. And
couldn't
I'm like,
separate it. Yeah,
you have to be wired a certain way.
I I taught drums for a while, about 5 years. I taught, and what I love about drums is that it, it is so easy to get started. Like I can have you playing half of AC/DC's discography, after the first, because it's just straight,
Hmm.
boom. So that's what's cool is when you get kids that are, 10, 11, 12, or even younger, you give them a guitar, and you're just like, oh, by the way, it's going to be like 6 to 9 months before you can maybe even attempt to play a song.
Sure.
Like that's hard. And it's like, I had one kid one time, like he was, like I want to learn how to play more stuff. And I said, do me a favor, pull up a song. If we pull up a song, and I was like, that's the beat we've been working on last week. And I'm like, pull up another one. That's the beat we were working on when you first come. And I was like, these are the foundation. Like
Sure.
these are the foundation for a lot of what. And you'll grow and learn to advance and do more complicated stuff. And it was like his eyes open, was like, oh wow. Like, so that's what I love about drums. Like, it's so easy to get started. Now it's hard to master. And touch and feel is a whole, that's a thing that I feel like sometimes you have it or you don't. You know what I
Mm,
mean? I do kind of think in a way. I believe people can overcome, but I think some people just have it and some don't. But yeah, it's like I said, I have no idea how I become a drummer. Like it just happened. So yeah, it's but yes, I've heard a lot of people like musically inclined, and they just sit down. Drums are just like, nope, not for me. Take me back to
yeah,
guitar or bass. So
yeah, because you know, well, when you talk guitar, to tap your foot to
yeah,
the rhythm, so
yep,
you got that sense.
yep,
But then it's something about, with me at least, I don't know if it's, but
sure.
every time I sped up, my legs sped up.
Your legs sped up. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And but then I give a lot of credit to guitar players and just musicians that play and sing. Because that's another element too. That kind of being able to play your instrument proficiently, but also sing in key or
Sure.
because I play with a lot of country bands or classic rock or whatever. So I that's always like impressive to me because I don't sing. I wish I would have cared about singing, but dude, I just want to be a drummer. You know what I mean? Like that.
Right.
I, like I was a big fan of like Nico McBrain, not Phil Collins. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but I like both of them. But yeah, but yeah, that's I've heard that many times.
And I wanted to ask you,
Hmm?
now that the album's out, what's the best way to get a physical copy and any merchandise that you have?
Yes. So literally, as soon as we're done with this interview, I'm going to be messaging Christian, my art guy, and I'm going to be sending some lyrics. So back in the day, when you would do an album, when you did an album, you would just do an album release party because otherwise no one could hear it unless because there was no thing like Spotify and
Sure.
uploading you could upload your music to YouTube, but like streaming services has kind of changed the game. Maybe not in a good way, but they've changed the game. And so, but it gets your so I was thinking about it. I was like, do we hold the album hostage until we get physicals,
Right.
or because it was actually ready in January.
Wow.
I think like second week of January. And I was sitting here and I was really debating like, what do we do? Do we get some physicals lined up and then try to do a big show? And I thought to myself, I was like, man, like I got people that are like just every time I'll run into people I know in public and they're just like, when's it coming out? When's it coming? And I'm like, I promise it's coming soon. It's coming soon. And I was like, I think we just need to get this thing released and just give it to the public because I didn't want to hold it hostage
Sure.
for. I know vinyls can be up to a 3 month lead time. Um,
And anymore, that's quick because
yeah,
anymore it's around 6 to 9.
right. So I'm saying like I think that's the minimum. And so
Yeah.
one thing we talked about and I'm working on it as we speak. I want to get some CDs kind of out quickly, and I think we're going to do a small run of cassettes too.
Oh,
Um,
excellent.
so, dude, I'm old school. Like I collect cassettes, vinyl, CD, all that stuff. So, like, I think like having a cassette would be in. The label guy was like, I think that's a great idea. So I think we're going to do some cassettes, like a small run. We've been looking into trying to get like an online merch store running. I
Mhm.
know we're looking at the website, but we're also looking at maybe like doing stuff through Bandcamp.
Yeah,
And so once again, we've relatively just been regional, and we did an album in 20 the EP in 2019, and we sold a lot like in person, but I
mhm.
never. But yeah, physical stuff. Like I got people like they're like, hey, I want this. I want a physical copy of this. Like I need this. So I'm working on that now. So I'm hoping within like maybe the next month or so, because I know CDs and cassettes, the turnaround time is very quick compared to
Right.
vinyl.
Oh,
So
yeah.
my kind of plan that I had is that I wanted to kind of do some CDs and cassettes kind of relatively quickly. And then I'm going to look into submitting for vinyl and just seeing how long that's going to take because I know that, man, I think I could sell like over half of them the minute I got them. If I did like an order of
Sure.
100 or 50 or whatever, like I mean, they would go because I know people that they love it. They want vinyl, and I agree. I think vinyl is awesome. So
Yes.
but yeah, well, I'm working on that as we speak. Everything just kind of happened. I think the album turns 2 weeks tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
since we released it, I think it's been 2 weeks. So it's been a whirlwind, but it's been cool. And the guy, us in the band, like we're just like super like just pumped that people were just like listening to it, and people were telling us their favorite tracks, and like you're digging into the lyrics. I'm just like, that's what we want. We want people
Right.
to experience it. So yeah, but that's the plan as of right now.
And lastly, I wanted to ask you, and speaking of fans, if you could give a message to your fans, what message would you give them?
That's just to my fans. I mean, they have been our fans have been awesome. You know, I'm a we're a relatively small band from Arkansas. We just all we wanted to do, and it just our goal has always just been to make music for people. Like we're not trying to make money. Okay, if we wanted to make money, we wouldn't be playing in a thrash, like
Right.
fast. You know what I mean? I'm just being honest,
Sure.
and we just always felt like that we have had something special that we have a like just with our writing and lyric, and we just want to share. And our fans have just been. I mean, it's so humbling that we'll play a show somewhere and someone's like, "I drove 3 hours to come see you guys," and I'm just like, it's just they're awesome. And like I said, this is going on our 16th year in September, and it's like it's super just overwhelming sometimes when people are just like just sharing your stuff and just being like, hey man, these guys are still killing it. And because in reality we probably shouldn't be here. Most localish bands, regional bands like us don't make it this long.
Right.
You see a really good 3 to 4 run stretch, maybe five, and then they're out. So the fact that we've been going as far as we can, and a lot of it's because we go play a show and we still got people coming up. Old fans coming that's been there from the very beginning. That we had shows that went in 2011, and then we have new people coming up that is just younger generation that's just like super excited about what we're doing. One of the best compliments I've been getting is I've always told people when they ask what is Angel Flesh, and I'm just like because people are like, oh, we're a thrash band, or someone's like, oh, we're a deathcore band, or we're death metal, or we're speed whatever. And I've always said we're just kind of heavy metal. Like we're not
Yeah.
we're just trying to be heavy. And so I've had so many people, fans, be like, this is real metal, and I'm just like, that's awesome, because that's what we were going for.
Sure.
We weren't trying to fit in any kind of box. We just wanted to write what we are. And in the past, we've been more thrashy, and we still love thrash and we love playing those songs. But this we want to do something a little different. And yeah, so to the fans, I mean, just thank you guys so much. The support has been just like speechless. I mean, really, the album it's over 5,000 views on YouTube right now. We did a music video back in 2019, and it's barely 4,000. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
in 2 weeks, it's just been like blown up. And so, yeah, part of me is just like, crap. Now we gotta you get this stuff ready and go play. Because people are wanting to hear
Sure.
it. So yeah, it's been really good. But yeah, the fans are everything. I mean, because if that's why we go do it. We go out there so we can play for people that just had a long week at work, and they come out there and can just throw down the pit or just headbang to some riffs or just talk shop with us. So I mean, yeah, I mean, because
Absolutely.
if there was no fans, we wouldn't do it. I mean, just straight up. So yeah, they're everything. So all the support we've had over the years, like we can't thank you guys enough. So we really truly appreciate it.
Well, I wanted to thank you for taking time to speak with me. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
Same with you, man. Yeah, thank you for having me. And maybe we can do this again later on. Like
Absolutely.
I love to. I enjoyed our time together.
Yeah, I don't want to wait another 16 years for another full length. That's for sure.
I know. I was kind of like, I was joking. I was like, I don't want to do another album next year. But we had plans on still putting out new music, but maybe not like a full blown
Sure.
release. But I think it's gonna have to happen again. I think this one did so well. I think people are, yeah, yeah. So
Well, thank you again, my friend, and you have a great rest of your day.
you too. Appreciate it, Robert.
Cheers.